Lena, Mark, Jasmine and Kyle. 4 friends, experienced hikers, all drawn to the allure of the unknown. The forest stood before them, a dark emerald enigma on the horizon. It promised adventure, a journey into a world untouched.
The air buzzed with anticipation as they checked their gear one last time.
Laughter echoed through the trees, their excitement a stark contrast to the silence that awaited them. They plunged into the woods, sunlight dappling through the dense canopy above.
The trail was narrow, swallowed by a sea of green.
They fell into step, their initial excitement tinged with a growing awareness of the forest's immensity. The trees pressed in, their branches intertwining to create a living, breathing tunnel.
The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of pine and damp earth.
It was as if the forest itself was watching them, its ancient presence settling over their shoulders. The silence was the first to change. The once comforting sounds of nature, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves faded away. The forest held its breath, an unsettling stillness settling upon them.
It was then that they heard it. A whisper, faint and indistinct, carried on the breeze.
They paused, listening intently. Was it the wind playing tricks on them, or something more?
They exchanged uneasy glances, their smiles faltering.
They pressed on, their pace quickening, trying to outrun the growing sense of unease. The whispers returned, this time closer, more insistent. They seemed to slither through the undergrowth, wrapping around their ankles like icy fingers.
Fear, cold and sharp, began to prick at the edges of their bravado.
The forest seemed to twist and turn around them. The once familiar trail disappeared, swallowed by a maze of identical trees.
They backtracked, their hearts pounding against their ribs.
But every turn led them deeper into the heart of the forest's labyrinth. Panic gnawed at the edges of their composure. The once comforting weight of the trees now felt oppressive, suffocating.
They were lost, hopelessly and utterly lost.
The whispers grew louder, swirling around them like a malevolent wind. They no longer resembled words but morphed into guttural growls, laced with an ancient hunger. The forest was alive, they realized, and it was toying with them. As darkness descended, the whispers intensified, wrapping around them like a suffocating blanket. They huddled together, their headlamps casting eerie shadows that danced and twisted in the darkness.
Fear, raw and primal, took root in their hearts.
Each snap of a twig, each rustle of leaves, sent shivers down their spines. They were being watched, hunted.
Jasmine, always the level-headed one, began to act strangely. Her eyes glazed over, her body swaying slightly as if in a trance. She muttered under her breath, her words a jumble of incoherent syllables.
They tried to shake her out of it, their voices tight with panic.
But she just stared blankly ahead, a chilling smile playing on her lips. It was as if something had taken hold of her, something dark and ancient. They spent a fitful night huddled together, their sleep plagued by nightmares and the ever-present whispers. Dawn brought no relief, only the crushing realization that they were still trapped.
We need to find a way out. We can't stay here.
I know, but every path we take just leads us back to where we started.
It's like the forest is alive, twisting and turning against us.
We can't give up. There has to be a way out.
They tried to retrace their steps, desperately searching for a way out of the forest's suffocating embrace. But every path they took led to a dead end, twisting and turning back on itself. The forest held them captive, its grip tightening with each passing hour.
We're running out of time. This place, it's playing with us.
I can feel it. We're not alone here.
Their hope began to dwindle, replaced by a chilling certainty that they were not alone in this wilderness. Something was hunting them, herding them deeper into the forest's heart. The whispers were a constant reminder of its presence, a chorus of unseen eyes watching their every move. They were prey, and the forest was the predator. The forest seemed to press in on them, the air thick with a palpable sense of dread. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, morphing into guttural snarls that echoed through the trees. Panic, raw and consuming, began to spread through their ranks like wildfire.
We have to get out of here now.
Mark, usually the calm and collected one, started shouting, his voice echoing through the silent trees. He lashed out, his fists connecting with the rough bark of a nearby tree.
Mark, stop! You're hurting yourself!
Lena tried to calm him, her voice trembling as she placed a hand on his arm. But he shrugged her off, his eyes wide and unseeing.
It's no use, we're trapped, we're never getting out.
The forest was getting to them, stripping away their sanity piece by piece. The whispers seemed to feed on their fear, growing stronger with every panicked breath.
We can't give up. We have to stay strong. We have to...
But even as she spoke, the words felt hollow, the forest's malevolent presence gnawing at their resolve. Section 7. Vanished without a trace. Then, with a chilling suddenness, Kyle was gone.
One moment he was there arguing with me, the next he had vanished without a trace.
Kyle, where are you?
We called his name. Our voices hoarse with terror, but the only response was the mocking echo of the forest itself.
The whispers seemed to cackle around them, a chorus of unseen tormentors reveling in their despair. They searched frantically, their eyes darting from tree to tree, their hearts pounding in their chests. But there was no sign of him, no trace that he had ever existed. It was as if the forest itself had swallowed him whole. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through their dwindling hope. They were next. The forest was hungry, and it would not be satiated until they were all gone. Section 8, the forest's hunger, two became one.
Jasmine, her eyes vacant, wandered off into the trees, her name on my lips, gone.
Lena and Mark, their faces ashen, were left alone in the heart of the whispering woods. The silence was almost unbearable, broken only by the sound of their own ragged breathing and the relentless whispers that seemed to claw at their sanity.
We clung to each other, our bodies trembling, our eyes darting around the forest in a futile attempt to anticipate the unseen danger that lurked around every corner.
The forest was toying with them, savoring their fear before it devoured them whole. They were both acutely aware that they were living on borrowed time, their every breath a precious gift. The whispers seemed to grow louder, their tone shifting from mocking amusement to something darker, something hungrier.
I closed my eyes, a single tear rolling down my cheek. I had accepted my fate.
Section 9, the last whisper. Mark did not scream.
One moment he was beside me, the next he was gone. No rustle of leaves, no snapping branches, just empty space where he had been standing only seconds before. I was utterly alone.
The forest pressed in on her, the whispers swirling around her like a vortex of madness. She sank to her knees, her body racked with sobs. She was going to die here, alone and forgotten, another victim claimed by the insatiable hunger of the ancient woods.
A whisper, closer than the others, brushed against my ear. It was no longer a guttural snarl, but a voice, ancient and powerful. It spoke of a hunger that stretched back centuries, a hunger that could never be satisfied.
Lena looked up, her gaze drawn to a towering oak tree in front of her. At its base lay a stone, half hidden by the tangled undergrowth. Something compelled her to crawl towards it, her fingers tracing the strange markings etched into its surface. Section 10. An ancient evil awakens. The markings pulsed with an eerie green light, the whispers reaching a fever pitch as Lena's fingers brushed against the cold stone.
Images flashed through my mind. Visions of ancient rituals, of sacrifices made to appease a being of immense power. The forest had been silent for centuries, its hunger kept at bay, but now it was awakening. I understood.
The forest wasn't just hungry, it was starving, and it had been waiting for her, the last sacrifice needed to unleash its full power upon the world.
The whispers surrounded me, lifting me into the air. I closed my eyes, accepting my fate as the forest's final offering.
The ancient evil had awakened, and its hunger would consume everything in its path. The whispers of the forest would soon be the screams of the world.